coming in questions here on Facebook and also out in YouTube. And Donna has a question. What can she do to stop severe acne on the face and dry spots on the skin?
Well, that's a huge question because there's not just one kind of acne. And a lot of times what we call acne is really an immune condition in the skin, and that has to do with food. So, it was a little bit off the beaten track here, but there's T-zone acne, which occurs in the middle of the face and the forehead. That's different from acne that appears on the cheeks and the side of the face. The kind of acne that people have when they have severe acne is on the cheeks and the side of the face and in the lymphatic system in the neck and right here at the jawline or right where the neck meets right underneath the ear area where you get boils and cysts. All of those need to be regarded as food issues, lymphatic issues, and intestinal issues. And by intestinal issues, I'm talking both digestive in terms of food and hormonal. So remember, the estrobolome is processing hormones at the level of the intestine, and many people who have intestinal problems also have boils and cysts and lymphatic problems. So if you want to cut right down to the chase, do everything we just talked about with SIBO and with the digestive system. Although, is she here or is she on Facebook, did you say? Is this gal here?
Let me see if she's here with us. She's out on Facebook. I don't see she's in.
So I'd have to see whether it's the T-zone version or and see if she's answering.
I can find out.
Yeah, find out what kind of acne it is. And what was the second thing that you said?
The dry spots on the skin.
Dry spots on the skin sound like eczema. And that should be considered to be a food issue, which could also be an intestinal issue, and malabsorption of fats and fatty vitamins. Those are the two major causes of eczema. Malabsorption of fats and fatty vitamins, that is your ultimate EFAs and all your fatty vitamins, and toxicity at the level of the intestine, and both of them are related to digestive and intestinal issues. So if this is the same person who has both the dry spots and the acne, then I would hone in on the small intestine and all the SIBO and digestive support things that we just talked about, FODMAPs, eliminating problem foods, food diary, all the probiotics and the fiber, etc.
Okay, and then another question that is a little similar out on YouTube, wanting to know how they can treat boils on the back and shoulders.
Classic lymphatic issue. We didn't talk about the lymph, but in the small intestine, you have an opening, you have openings where fats enter into the lymphatic system. Fats are processed in the small intestine completely differently from everything else. When the wrong kinds of fats get into the lymphatic system, it can become clogged and cause immune problems. These immune problems will ultimately show up on the skin as boils. So you want to, especially on the back, you have you have a large concentration of lymph there. Any kind, they used to have, kids who use steroids or athletes who use steroids will get this condition called back knee. Have you ever heard of this condition, back knee?
Oh, yeah.
Back knee is breakouts on the back. And it's well known that people who abuse anabolic steroids will get back knee. In fact, that's one of the ways that high school coaches will check to see if their kids, their students are using, their student athletes are using steroids to look for back knee. So any kind of back breakouts, acne in the back, boils on the back should be regarded as a lymphatic issue, which in turn should be regarded as an intestinal issue, either involving the wrong foods or SIBO, especially the wrong kinds of fats. So clearing out the lymphatic drainage, staying away from problem foods, specific problem foods, and working on all the using intestinal health strategies that we just talked about, including I-26.
And of course, the 90 essential nutrients being the core foundation.
That very good point. Everything we just talked about, the I-26, the ultimate enzymes, what else did we talk about here? The Daily Digest, the Daily Digest, Ultimate Microbiome. Those are all spokes on the wheel. The center is the mighty 90 essential nutrients. At the center, your big three healthy start pack, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Ultimate EFA, and your OsteoFX. That's the center of the wheel. Ultimate Microbiome, Daily Digest, I-26, all of those are the spokes on the wheel. But yes, you're 100% correct. Nothing, don't take anything, ultimate enzymes even, don't take anything without taking that core. Nothing will work as well as it should if you don't have that core Mighty 90 essential nutrients.
Well, and then you mentioned this ultimate selenium, which is in the brain and heart pack, which has an additional essential fatty acid.
Yes.
So
there's two EFA products. There's the ultimate EFA and ultimate EFA plus. I'm not sure why they call it that because, well, I much prefer the ultimate EFA plus. I'll tell you why here in a second. There are things in the ultimate EFA, particularly omega-3 fatty acids, that you get more of. But with the ultimate EFA plus, the reason I like it so much, and more than I like the ultimate EFA, is because there's a specific fat in there called GLA. And GLA is stupendously valuable. And you get, I think, 19 milligrams of GLA, if I'm remembering correctly, as opposed to 4 milligrams of GLA in the plus versus the red. The GLA is great for so many different things, but especially for the skin and especially for women's menopausal issues, for hot flashes. So especially for hot flashes, but all menopausal issues. So I like the plus better than the ultimate EFA, but there is some things in the ultimate EFA that you get more of compared to the plus. So take both. And take both. Yeah. And you can't, you could take like 15 of those things. Don't worry about taking too many ultimate EFA plus. If you take 15, you can mix them up. And now, Rebecca, are they both in that? You're not saying they're both in that?
In the brain and heart pack, they are.
The EFA and the EFA plus.
Yeah.
That's great.
And the ultimate selenium. So pretty fantastic. Now, going back to I-26, Debbie wants to know, is it good for histamines also?
Yeah, absolutely, not directly, but yes, it can definitely help with histamine intolerance for supporting the immune system.
Okay. And another question is, what type of fiber can you consume with SIBO, high histamine, and candida?
Those are all a little bit different. You're gonna have to see how you do. You can eat any fiber theoretically, but you have to see how you do because the bacteria live on fiber. So if you're eating fiber, you may be causing excess proliferation of bacteria. However, the opposite's also true. Eating fiber will have bacteria produce more butyrate, more of these fats that we talked about earlier, one called butyrate, I didn't mention that is very important for the health of the intestine. So you're gonna have to see how you do. That's the best way. I don't know, I would never say you don't want any fiber. Fiber is just too valuable, especially insoluble fiber, which clears everything out. The big problem is the mushy fiber, which is the soluble fiber. There's two kinds of fiber. You have insoluble fiber and you have soluble fiber. Insoluble fiber is roughage. It's the stuff that doesn't dissolve. It stays hard and it kind of acts like a broom to sweep everything out, including excess estrogen for folks who are for women who are dealing with estrogen issues, or men for that matter, who are dealing with estrogen issues. Soluble fiber swells when it contacts water. Sometimes it just dissolves in water, doesn't even swell. And the soluble fiber is the kind that bacteria feed on. That's the big problem. Nonetheless, it's still so valuable that I wouldn't say completely eliminate it. Just see how you do. That would be my suggestion. I can't imagine that completely eliminating fiber from the diet is a good thing.
Yeah, I can't imagine with it sweeping and keeping things, and yeah.
And by the way, soluble fiber has a slowing down effect on gut motility. So if you're dealing with gut motility issues, too much soluble fiber matters worse. So you do want to kind of check things out for yourself. I don't know necessarily getting on a fiber supplement, but using foods that have fiber in them. The lower FODMAPs foods, like for example, grapes and berries have less FODMAPs. Remember I said the FODMAPs are mushy. You'll still get some soluble fiber in low FODMAPs foods. So that might be the way to go to get fiber.
All right, for that. And out on YouTube, we have a question. Would a high protein diet be bad on the digestive system for someone who is trying to lose weight, build muscle at the same time?
A high protein diet be bad? No.
That's what the question is.
No, a high protein diet is not bad. Meat is typically not a problem for FODMAPs, but processed meat is a problem. And foods that contain high protein, like vegan foods that contain, or vegetarian foods that contain high protein, like beans and mushrooms, those can be high, those are high FODMAPs, and those can be problems. But meat and eggs are typically not problems, although there are some FODMAPs in dairy that might be an issue. But no, meat should not be a problem. And somebody who's wants to build muscle, they should definitely be using protein. And protein's very satisfying and very filling too.
Yes. Yeah. Don't take my meat away from me. Thank you. Thank you. Next question, coming from YouTube. Harley's asking, can metabolites from SIBO enter the lymphatic system?
I know metabolites from SIBO, you're talking about bacterial pieces of bacteria. They call them LPSs or endotoxins. If that's what he's talking about, yes, that's exactly the problem that I was talking about earlier, how when you have inflammation at the level of the small intestine, those are the things, in addition to peptides, food particles, that can get into the blood and that can activate the immune system. And by the way, one of the most pro-inflammatory foods that you can eat, pro-intestinal inflammatory foods that you can eat, are fried fats and processed fats. So deep fried and processed fats can be especially problematic for leaky gut issues.
So another reason to stay away from those fried foods, folks. It is on
There's
the bad food.
Yeah, and this is Doc talks about this all the time. This is one of the most important things, in my opinion. One of the most important things he talks about is the issue with fried fats. Fats are very, very problematic. You got to be really careful with your fats.
All right.
As important as they are.
And you can find that good foods, bad foods list on our website, DailywithDoc.com. So if you fill there and get that whole list, you can save it, download it, share it with others. Because folks, you focus on the good stuff. You don't stress about the bad stuff or let it even get into your shopping cart or on your plate at the restaurant. And that in itself is going to do you some good. And then you add in the 90 essential nutrients and some of these extra things for digestive health. You're on a great road to a better health journey to find your optimal best. I think it worked for me anyways. Okay, worked for me. The next question coming from Repulsify out on YouTube is, how can I fix anxiety, depression, OCD? Are they sometimes related to gut also?
Oh, heck yes, absolutely. There's a major connection between, that's what I say, I talked about neurological issues and movement issues. Absolutely. Gluten is a huge problem. There's the guy wrote a book called Grain Brain. Have you heard of this?
Oh yeah, I have.
Oh, there's a major relationship between gut and brain, and gut and neurology. Now, depression and anxiety are a little tricky because we live in a world that is conducive to depression and anxiety. So turning off the news is one of the greatest health strategies you could ever use if you're interested in taking care of anxiety and depression. It's almost like there's a motive to keeping people depressed and anxious. It's called the news. That's what the news does, is it keeps you depressed and anxious. So it's tricky to just blame or to attribute strictly emotional issues like depression and anxiety to nutrition. But because the mind and the brain, the mind and the body are connected, it's not really a distinction between the mind and the body. It's somewhat arbitrary and semantic. Literally, there's not a distinction. Every time you think a thought, a hormone changes, and every time a hormone changes, it changes the way you think. So they're intimately related. And yes, the digestive system, these LPSs, they call, I didn't really talk about LPSs, but LPS stands for lipopolysaccharide, and it's components of these bacteria that enter into the bloodstream through a leaky gut. And yes, LPSs and peptides, food particles that get into the bloodstream through a leaky gut can cause all kinds of mental health issues. And toxins from incompletely processed proteins, ammonia included, that get into the bloodstream can affect the brain as well, and can cause depression, anxiety, cognitive issues, etc. One of the best supplements that longevity has that you could ever take for brain health issues involves a nutrient that is important, critically important for both the intestine and the brain. And deficiencies in this nutrient are associated with both dementia and digestive problems. And by dementia, I don't just mean Alzheimer's or, full-blown dementia. It could be just memory problems, or it could be depression, or it could be any kind of brain health issue. And when I say digestive issues, it could be anything in the digestive tract. And that is the ultimate niacin, which in my opinion is the single most medicinal and therapeutic. I hate to say that, but there's a bunch of, I hate to say the most, but it's one of the most therapeutic and medicinal of all the essential nutrients, the ultimate niacin. And that's one on as far as the spokes go, that's one of the spokes that everybody should be on. It is an essential nutrient. The ultimate niacin is so important that it's the one vitamin that the body will actually make if it needs to. It won't make enough of it, but if you're completely deficient in niacin, your body will make some. That's the only vitamin that the body will actually produce on its own. So that's how important niacin is to the body. And the ultimate niacin is one of the most, in my opinion, is one of the most important of all the longevity formulations.
Well, and it has some of those extra additives in it that make it ultimate. It is not just a single nutrient. So I love the fact that longevity has put combinations, these synergistic blends together.
That's true.
That work better in the body. So we have another question coming from Facebook, and Kashan wants to know what happens if you inject a person with an overload of estrogen.
You mean like hormone replacement therapy?
Possibly.
Estrogen is on the FDA's known to cause cancer list, but the problem with estrogen is there's no such thing as estrogen. Estrogen is a family. There are molecules in the body that have estrogen properties. It's like a family of molecules. In fact, the estrogen family is found throughout nature. In fact, the family of estrogen is found not just in nature, but is synthesized in plastics. So estrogen is like a generic name for a chemical structure that activates the estrogen system in the body. So absolutely, if you take a bunch of estrogen, what's supposed to happen if you're healthy is that estrogen will get cleared out, specifically through the intestine and through the bowel movement involving bowel movements involving bile and involving the liver, and involving the gallbladder, involving the intestine. But if any of these things are not operating like they should, the liver, you got fatty liver issues, or you got metabolic syndrome, a blood sugar problem, or you have an intestinal problem. If you're not processing your estrogen effectively, high levels of toxic estrogen can build up. So if you get injected with estrogen, number one, that estrogen itself could be toxic estrogen, especially if it's pharmaceutical estrogen. But even if it's regular estrogen, or they call it bioidentical estrogen, and you're not clearing estrogen effectively, high levels of what I call superestrogen, or chemists call catechol estrogens, or lay people call toxic estrogen, can build up. And that's where that's where all the health problems associated with estrogen come from. And by that, I mean fibromyalgia, endometriosis, infertility, autoimmune diseases. These are all estrogenic issues. Breast cancer, all the reproductive cancers, they can be the end result of accumulations of superestrogen, or if you prefer catechol estrogen, or if you prefer toxic estrogen, which itself will build up if you have a liver, you're not processing your estrogen well at the level of the liver, the estrobolome, you're not excreting, you're constipated. All of these can cause problems with detoxifying or purifying or eliminating estrogen. And we didn't talk about bile. I had too much to talk about, so I didn't talk about bile. But bile is critical for clearing estrogen. So if you're not making enough bile, you have a gallbladder taken out, your bile is sludgy because you're eating the wrong foods, you're taking drugs, prescription drugs, all of these can compromise the elimination of estrogen. And if you're injecting large quantities of estrogen, that's just going to compound the problem.
All right. I think we need to talk about bile next month.
Yes, I think so.
I think so, because it is so important.
Yes, yes.
We have another question wanting to know, how can we measure correct levels of estrogen? Is that only through blood work?
Yeah, or saliva tests you could do. It's tough to say because there's so many estrogens, and when they test for your blood or your saliva, they're only testing at most for 3, maybe 4 different estrogens, but there's so many different ones. It's best always to go by your symptoms. If you find you're gaining weight, you're a woman, you have menstrual problems, you're a man, you have prostate problems, if you have intestinal issues, or if you have any of all those pathologies I just talked about that affect women, fibromyalgia is the classic because estrogen is so pro-inflammatory. Then you can suspect an estrogen issue. So you can have a blood test or you can have a saliva test, but there's so many different estrogens and they only test for a couple, so it's hard to say for sure.
Well, I can tell from experience, it's so nice not to have those issues anymore. So nice.
Yeah, because you're taking care of your supplementation and taking care of your diet.
Yeah, I don't even have
By the way, I should say this. I talked earlier about the ultimate EFAs being nature's natural anti-inflammatories, natural steroids. They're also nature's natural estrogen. Your ultimate EFAs are nature's natural estrogen. So you can get all your estrogen benefits from the ultimate EFAs if you're a woman and you're thinking about hormone replacement therapy, or if you want to balance out your estrogen, if you have estrogenic issues, the ultimate EFAs may be able to help you. I talked about GLA, earlier as almost like a treatment for hot flashes and for menopausal symptoms. Well, GLA is found in the ultimate EFAs, but it's also actually made from the ultimate EFAs. So not only was this product so cleverly formulated that they added GLA, but your body will convert the omega-6 in the ultimate EFAs into GLA too. So that can have estrogen supporting and also overall women's health supporting effect.
Fantastic. Wow. Now you had mentioned quickly about weight gain, and we have a question here. It says, if you are trying to gain weight with SIBO and Candida, do whey proteins, are they suggested, or what are the
in other words, if you have SIBO and you can't gain weight, that's a sign of malnourishment. So yes, work on the SIBO, do everything that you can do for the SIBO, more protein and resistance training.
Okay.
But yes.
Okay. I had something covering part of the question. It says, if you are trying to gain weight with SIBO and cannot do whey protein, what are the suggestions?
You cannot do whey protein. I see what you're saying. If you're trying to gain weight with SIBO and you can't do whey protein, there's a couple things. First of all, work on the SIBO and you may be able to do the whey protein. That's first of all. So you might want to try that. Excuse me. Second of all, more protein is definitely important. So find a protein that you can do. And then meat protein or egg protein, those are usually SIBO friendly. And then work on the SIBO. Because if you're not able to absorb your amino acids and peptides because you have SIBO, it's likely you're not absorbing the B vitamins or electrolytes or vitamin C or other nutrients. So working on the SIBO is the most important. It's going to be very difficult to gain weight if you're not able to absorb nutrients from the small intestine.
Wow. All right. Another question from Facebook. Ben, they're coming in and they're staying right on track with the subject. Wow. So Laura says, how can I deal with bad bacteria due to a lot of antibiotics?
You got to build them up again. First of all, are you still taking the antibiotics? I assume you're not. So just get off the antibiotics, that's for sure, and start building up good bacteria if you can. Now you got to be careful because you may have issues with bacteria in general, but because sometimes the antibiotics kill off some bacteria, but don't kill them all. They can kill off the good bacteria, leave the bad bacteria, because it's not just bacteria, it's the balance of them. So repopulating your gut with bacteria is probably a function of fiber and fiber foods. But again, you got to be careful because if you've got you don't want to be building up the bad bacteria, as well as the ultimate microbiome, ultimate nightly essence, IP26 for sure. And then also fiber foods, but you got to be careful with those.
All right, thank you. And there's more. I mean, YouTube is keeping Sportus really busy, Dr. Pharmacist Ben. So here's another question. They want to know, how can I improve the resting heart rate?
Exercise and breathing.
Exercise and deep breathing. Okay.
Exercise and breathing, and Wim Hof breathing. You guys, everybody should be doing Wim Hof breathing. And then exercise, and also stress management, keeping your cortisol down, relaxation strategies. That's the best way. Those are the three best ways, probably: exercise, breathing, and relaxation strategies.
Okay. The next question is, how does microbiome affect the brain?
Well, the microbiome, if the microbiome's not operating correctly, you're going to end up with leaky gut. If you have leaky gut, all kinds of stuff's going to leak into the bloodstream, including endotoxins and lipopolysaccharides that we talked about. And that can affect the brain. Literally, that stuff can go into the brain, cross the blood-brain barrier. These toxins can cross the blood-brain barrier. Secondly, malabsorption of nutrients at the level of the small intestine can affect the brain, especially your B vitamins and minerals like zinc, for example. Those can affect the brain. Then there's crosstalk between the intestine and the liver. And if your liver starts to become dysfunctional because of the dysfunctional small intestine, that can cause toxicity that can enter into the bloodstream, and that can also affect the brain. So via the liver toxicity, intestinal toxicity, and malabsorption of nutrients, those are the three main places where disturbed microbiome can affect brain health, cognitive functioning, neurological functioning, etc. Okay.
And so this is kind of a two-part question. And folks, if you've been listening to this program, I think you've gotten the answer to this, but let's hear it from Pharmacist Ben. The question is, why is it important to supplement, and what would happen if you chose not to supplement?
You'd be malnourished if you didn't supplement, and vice versa. Conversely, it's important to supplement so you don't get malnourished. You're not going to get everything you need from food. There's no way that you can get the kind of doses of nutrients that you need from food, even if you're eating a perfect diet. Just because there's not enough nutrients in the food, you have to eat too many calories to get the nutrients that you need. And one of the hallmark strategies for longevity and for good health is nutrient density. Nutrient density means lots of nutrients, less calories. A nutrient-dense food is a food that has lots of nutrition and not a lot of calories. So even if you were to eat nutrient-dense, you still wouldn't get the kind of concentration of nutrients that you can get from supplementing. Now, that being said, supplementing supplements. The word supplement means to add to. So you're not going to live on supplements. They're going to supplement your diet. So if you're not supplementing, you're missing a wonderful way to get concentrated amounts of nutrients to go with your foods. Secondly, if you have any malabsorption issues, you're not going to be able to get the nutrients out of the foods. So if you're not making enough stomach acid, you're not making enough digestive enzymes, you have SIBO issues, you have Crohn's disease or problems with a disturbance at the level of the intestinal lining or wall, in the cells that line the intestine, you can eat all the quality food you want and you're not going to get the nutrients out of them. You're not going to get the advantage of the nutrients. So number one, supplementing supplements adds to your food so you can eat less calories and get quality nutrition. And number two, if you have any kind of malabsorption issues, it doesn't matter what you're eating. You're going to be deficient. You're going to be deficient in micronutrients just because you're not absorbing them. Remember, there's two kinds of nutrients, by the way, and we haven't talked about this in a while. You got the big nutrients and the small nutrients. The big nutrients we call macronutrients. Those are nutrients that you need grams of or ounces of. Then there's the micronutrients. Those are the nutrients that you need micrograms or milligrams, very small amounts of. Your macronutrients are proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. You need to have those. But your micronutrients are also important. And those are the ones that are compromised, whose absorption is compromised significantly if you have any of these digestive health issues that we just talked about. So you need the micronutrients to be able to take advantage of the macronutrients. The protein and the fats and the carbohydrates require the vitamins and the minerals to access the energy. In other words, this is how I like to look at it. Protein, fats, and nutrients are like the logs on a fire. They have all the energy in them. The micronutrients, the vitamins and the minerals, those are like the spark that lights the fire. They're the magical pixie dust that allows the body to access all that energy that's stored in the protein and the fats and the carbohydrates. Without the micronutrients, your body can't take advantage of the macronutrients. This is why, by the way, people find that when they start to supplement with Beyond Tangy Tangerine and the Healthy Start Pack, they don't eat as much. They get more bang for their buck. In other words, if you have enough micronutrients, you don't need as much macronutrients because you're getting more value from your macronutrients, which is why people will lose weight when they start the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. It's one of the most important, one of the most noticeable things about the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is people lose weight and they don't feel like eating as much because now they're able to access the energy from the macronutrients, from the proteins and the fats and the carbohydrates. Conversely, if you don't have the micronutrients, either through malabsorption or eating the wrong foods, you're going to eat this protein, fats, and carbs, and guess what's going to happen? Not only are you not going to get the energy from them, but your body's going to stash them away. And we have the body has a special compartment for storing all that protein, fat, and carbohydrate that we eat that's not being taken advantage of. You know what we call that compartment? We call it our fat butts. That's what that compartment is. So our body fat many times is caused by excess amounts of protein, fats, and carbs that we're ingesting because we're not getting the amount of energy we can because we're deficient in micronutrients, which is why you start taking micronutrients, you start to lose weight.
Okay.
That makes
That's
sense?
something to think about, people, especially us ladies that have a little bit on the backside. Something
It's
to think
not just
about.
on the fat. It's not, I'm just teasing about the butts. It can also be the belly fats. That's what causes belly fat too.
Okay.
There's two kinds of fats. So you got the gynoid fat, which is where women get it. That's the hip fat and the butt fat. And then there's the abdominal fat that men get, the android fat. That's the kind of fat that men get around the belly. And by the way, belly fat and fat in general produce estrogen. So the more fat you're carrying, the more estrogenic you're going to be. I call that the Santa Claus effect in men.
Okay, so then with that being said, let's talk about the connection between the estrogen and the extra fat, and then
No, we
EFA.
can't talk about everything.
Okay, well, we're gonna have that as another conversation. But I have one more question and then one more hand, and then I know you've got to go.
Yes.
So, how can we motivate ourselves to stick to daily supplementation when we feel healthy?
You know, how can you motivate yourself? That's a really interesting question. If you feel healthy, first of all, it doesn't necessarily mean you're healthy, but even if you are healthy now, you might not be healthy in 10 years or in 15 years. It's an insurance policy. It's hard to say. That's like saying, how do I, my house is fine. Why do I need house insurance? My car is fine. Why do I need car insurance? My car drives fine. I don't need car insurance. Well, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. This is This is the best insurance there is. And even if you're healthy, yes, you're right. That's a good point because we always talk about this as regards to people who are not healthy. But yes, whoever asked that question asked a really interesting question. What if you are healthy? Well, think of it like an insurance program. Think of it like a longevity, like an illness insurance program and a longevity insurance program. This is a way that you can assure that in the future you're going to stay healthy, and in the future you're going to have a longevity, a good longevity, a healthy longevity. Yes, you're right. If you're healthy, it's harder to motivate. I can see that. But think of it like an insurance policy. Not only that, but you don't know what you don't know. So you may think you're healthy, but you don't know how healthy you could be. You may be leaving health on the table. And that's one thing that we have to understand as distributors and as also as patients and as people who have families and loved ones. We are leaving on the table. We are leaving it. We're saying we're okay. We're leaving good health on the table. And that's where, people say that the recommended daily, this is where the whole recommended daily allowance thing comes from. The recommended daily allowance for vitamin C is like 100 milligrams. Well, yeah, 100 milligrams will keep you from getting scurvy. That's great. So your teeth don't fall out of your head and your blood vessels don't explode and your bones don't turn to mush if you have a small amount. But you're not going to have enough so that you can fight diseases, or that your heart can be able to withstand stresses, or that your bones can be able to be your bones and muscles and connective tissue can build when you come home from the gym or after an exercise. You're leaving good health on the table, and you don't know what you don't know. So you may feel that you're healthy, but you could be healthier. You may feel like you have energy, but you could have more energy. You may feel like you have a resistance to disease, but you may have more resistance to disease. So I see it as an insurance policy, and that you're right. If you feel healthy, it might be harder to motivate yourself, but advance yourself a year, 2 years, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. I don't know how old you are, but advance yourself to the future. And what you're building now may provide you with disease resistance later, and even better, increased longevity.
That's a great answer.
Okay.
I would
you,
say
Rebecca.
Dr. Wallach would say you get an A++++.
Okay, yeah. Well, we want to tell people that whole idea of leaving health on the table by following this disease model, where it says, I don't have a disease, so I'm good. It's not that you don't have a disease. Health is not the absence of disease. Health is feeling explosively energetic, where you just want to bound out of bed and you stay up late and you go to bed and you wake up early and you only need 5 hours of sleep and everybody else is getting sick and you're fine. And you don't have, it's not just not having a full-blown disease. It's feeling awesome and great. And that's how we want to look at health. And even if you're feeling good now because you don't have a health challenge, it's very possible you could be even feel even better. You could be feeling even better.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. Let's go to Ross. Ross has been patiently with his hand up. Ross, go ahead and unmute yourself. You're on live with Pharmacist Ben.
Hi, Becca. Hi, Ben. How are
Ross.
you?
Hey, Ross.
Good to see you again, and very happy to be back and ask your question.
Yes,
I talked to you, Ben, back in January, I believe.
Yes.
And my issue that I brought up was about enlarged prostate.
Yes.
So you recommended to take a supplement called beta-sitosterol.
Yes, and the prostate.
Yeah, and saw
Ultimate EFA.
Yeah, and Ultimate EFA. I've been taking the Ultimate EFA for the past year plus.
Yeah.
And omega-3s and all this kind of stuff. So I just want to tell you that shortly after you told me to take these supplements, I've seen an increase different in my condition. My PSA is back to normal. I believe it affected my PSA because back in December, my PSA value was 5.0. It's now 3.9.
All right.
And I don't have the issues at night. It's just incredible.
Pay it forward. Tell all your friends.
Yeah, I've been telling them, and a couple of them, they are doing exact same thing.
Thank you. That's
so,
beautiful.
And I have to say thank you. So
thank you, Ross. I appreciate you saying that.
Thank you.
That it wasn't me. It was you. It was your body. You gave your body the right things. Your body did the work. I helped you. Told you some things. So I appreciate you saying thank you. But I want you to know, everybody to know, that's what's possible. People, we all are capable of reversing our health challenges, no matter what we're being told. So God bless you, Ross. Pay it forward. Tell everybody.
God bless you. Thank you. I appreciate that, man.
Thank you.
Brother.
I appreciate it.
I actually I have 1,000 different questions, but because I know the time is short, I'm just going to ask you 999 questions.
Okay.
So one next time I'm going to talk about my other issues, but today I like to talk about my mom. She's 78,
okay.
and for the past year she's been suffering under vertigos.
Suffering what? I'm sorry, say it. Vertigo.
Dizziness. Yeah. And she's been going through all kind of tests. Everything came out normal.
Okay, so of course she's normal then.
Yeah, she still has this
vertigo.
Yeah, vertigo. Yeah.
All right, let me tell you a couple things. First of all, does she, excuse me, does it get worse when she stands up out of a seated position?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Okay, does she bend down and pick up something and stands up and feels a little woozy, that kind of? Yeah, okay.
Oh, very much, yeah.
Okay, all right. So what she's dealing with is a combination of heart and adrenal issues. And there's probably some other inflammation going on, but let's just take care of the heart and adrenal issues first. So the first thing is just to show her what a miracle her body is and some of these health strategies are. The next time she's in a seated position and she wants to get up quickly, have her not get up quickly, but do slow, deep breathing before she gets up.
That's
Now,
what I've been telling her. Yeah.
okay, so what happens is, have you ever heard of a condition called POTS, P-O-T-S?
No, sir.
All right. POTS stands for postural, that's your posture, orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Does her heart race, by the way? Does she notice her heart is racing at all?
She's taking a medication called that. Because of that, the doctor gave her medication called metoprolol.
Metoprolol, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
And she's taking
that slows her heart down. That slows her heart down. But it doesn't slow her heart down by saying, heart, why don't you relax now and slow down? It slows her heart down by poisoning it. That's how these drugs work. So they poison the heart. So what she needs to do is she needs to figure out how to take care of the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are her stress glands. Also, as we get older, especially as women get older, the adrenal glands have to make hormones because the ovaries aren't. So the adrenal glands are doing extra duty. So she has to start working on the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are very responsive to blood sugar and digestion and oxygen and psychology. So anything she could do, number one, to relax psychologically. If she's a type A person, she's a stressful person, she's a stressful person mentally, she's freaking out about this and that and the other. Anything, I'm not going to go there because that's, I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist. I don't want to go there, but just want to let you know that's important. The second thing that's important, the next thing that's important is the respiratory system, and that's the breathing. So she should be practicing breathing exercises, particularly after she does she does movements, or before she does movements, I should say. So before she gets up, slow breathing. Before she has takes a walk or does any exercise, practice breathing, but just breathing anyway. I love this guy called Wim Hof. I know I've talked about him before. On YouTube, you can do Wim Hof breathing. This will add years to anybody's life, but including hers. Wim Hof breathing. And then the third thing that the adrenal glands are responsive to is the blood sugar system. And so everything you do for treating her like a diabetic, she has dysglycemia, even if she hasn't been diagnosed as a diabetic. So the healthy blood sugar pack, and then work on the digestive system, because there's not only is there a major connection between the digestive system and the stress system, but it goes the other way around. So there's a major relationship between the stress system and the digestive system. It's a big circle. So digestion will affect her adrenal glands, and her adrenal glands will affect her digestive system. It's a big circle. Okay. So working all the things that we just talked about with SIBO, if she has any digestive, chances are she has digestive issues. Work on the whole SIBO aspect of things that we just talked about. And then there's also, Longevity has some great adrenal products just for the adrenal glands, particularly the de-stress. So adrenal support, this is an adrenal issue largely. Digestive system, all the things we just talked about. Blood sugar system, healthy blood sugar pack. Respiratory system, the Wim Hof breathing, all the psychology stuff that, relaxing, just mentally relaxing, activating what we call, we talked about this before. You have a sympathetic stress nervous system, a nervous system that's fight or flight. That's the emergency nervous system. And then you have the relaxation nervous system. That's the parasympathetic nervous system. Activating the parasympathetic nervous system is one of the best things you could do for the adrenal glands, because the adrenal glands are your fight or flight glands. They're sympathetic. So by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, you you suppress adrenal activity. You calm down the adrenal glands. So how do you do that? Slow, deep breathing is one way you can do that. Mental attitude, grace, gratitude is another great way to do that. Warm water can do it. Warm baths can do it. What other things you can do? Muscle relaxation can do it. Progressive muscle relaxation can do it. Anything you do to activate the parasympathetic nervous system will help with the adrenal glands. So you got many mechanisms there, but the one you want to focus on is the adrenal glands. The part of the body you want to focus on is the adrenal glands.
Okay, thank you. And would you recommend her to stop taking this pill?
I can never recommend that. I would never do that to a doctor. Listen, I have a lot of friends who are physicians. They mean well. I'm not going to beat up on doctors. It's the model, the paradigm that's wrong. The doctors themselves are trying to do what's best. They're not like saying, how can I kill my patient? How can I make my patient miserable? How can I hurt her? They're not saying that. They're thinking that So it's not my place to get in between you, your mother and her doctor. I can't do that. However, I can tell you as a pharmacist that the drug she's taking works by poisoning the heart. And I don't know, doesn't sound like a good thing to me, to poison the heart. So if you can think of another way to take care of her heart, her cardiovascular issues, there's probably other ways to do it. The healthy heart pack or the healthy blood sugar pack. All of these are great ways that you can do it naturally. But I would never tell you to tell her or tell anybody not to take their drugs. But if she doesn't want to take her drug, tell her doctor, I want to do there's other things I want to do.
Right. Thank you very much. Just in support of what you earlier said regarding the question, why supplementations? Actually, just to your support and to the viewers' information, I heard Doc Wallach saying a while ago that we don't know how long we live. We are not taking supplements in order to have a longer life. We are taking the supplements to live a pain-free life. Yeah. So, and I believe this is wonderfully, I believe that's the wonderfully said.
Yes.
And
yes.
You're taking the supplements to feel good,
yes.
not to, and as you said, it's an insurance. And I firsthand witnessed myself ever since I've been taking your Doc Wallach's advice for the past 4 years. Taking a supplementation, I feel a different person at all. So it's just great. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, we get by. We're setting the bar so low on health that we're leaving energy on the table, vitality on the table, joie de vivre on the table, enthusiasm on the table. You start supplementing, start putting these things into your body. You just the meter goes like this. We're satisfied with it over here, but we could be over here.
Absolutely.
And that's what supplementation can do for us.
Yeah.
All right, you guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Becca.
Thank you. God bless you, Ross.
Don't go anywhere because my phone is blowing up. YouTube's blowing up. Facebook is blowing up, wanting to know, Ross, what did you take to help lower and get a normal PSA? Pharmaspin, what did you recommend to him?
Ben, don't tell him. Charge him money. Don't tell him.
No, Ross. You tell her.
I'm just kidding. I'm
just
kidding.
No, Ross, you tell people. I can tell you what I think, but you did it. You should tell.
Is that okay if I show it what I'm taking?
Are they longevity products?
Unfortunately, no. It's called beta-sitosterol, and I'm taking 1,000 milligrams. Yeah,
it's in the ProstFX. Yeah, ProstFX. Here's how you want to do it, and you're right. Beta-sitosterol it's in the ProstFX. ProstFX. Fats, ultimate EFAs, especially the omega-3s and the ultimate EFAs, and focus on fats, all the fatty nutrients and dietary fats. Staying away from the bad fats, staying away from the sugars. Treat yourself, get on all the ProstFX, get on all the blood sugar nutrients, the healthy blood sugar pack, and mostly treat the prostate as a fatty gland and as responsive to fatty nutrients. And as responsive in a negative way to the wrong kinds of fats.
I'm taking 2,000 milligrams of the beta-sitosterol a day.
Yeah.
And
did you notice, Ross? Did you notice were you urinating free? Were you going to the bathroom in the middle of the night a lot before?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
did
it cut?
Yes.
Before, and now you're not going to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Not at all. And I've been honest with you. Probably once or twice a week, only one time.
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of night.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just sleep through. It's just incredible.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, that's incredible, right? For you ladies, you don't have any idea. That's the most miserable thing when you got to go to the bathroom 5 times in the middle of the night. And once you start taking your prostate, get on the ProstFX and the ultimate EFAs, all the thing we're talking about, that doesn't happen anymore. Nice job.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thank you, Ross.
Thank you, Becca. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you, Becca.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. And for ladies, I remember those days when I would sneeze.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if men had that problem or not.
Men don't have that. That's true.
So we have our own. But such an informative hour and 45 minutes. Hour and 53 minutes, Pharmacist Ben. Thank you so much. There's
Thank
going
you
to be
for
a
what
lot
you're
of
doing. And
people.
thank you to all my longevity family. I appreciate all you guys. And Dr. Wallach, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for what you've done and what you're doing. Dr. Judy and Mike and Ross and Coach Rod, of course. Thank you so much, everybody. And
Yes,
Becca, you're awesome. You
thank
rock.
you.
See you next
As
month.
one of our mentors and leaders within the longevity family, I can't thank you enough, Pharmacist Ben, for being here with us and standing there next to Dr. Wallach and promoting the importance of supplementation, folks. You're leaving stuff on the table if you don't think it's important. And like Ross said, may not be about living a long, long life, because only God knows our days numbered on this earth, but being able to thrive with our time here on earth, I think is the most important thing. So thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Becca. Bye, everybody.
I'm going to get my co-host on the screen with us so you can see who we have today. How come I'm not seeing everybody? There we go. And Marilyn. So Pharmacist Ben, this is part of our daily team, which is also our Q&A team. And we can't thank you enough for allowing us to be able to support you as you are being an amazing support to a community that, with us helping our own communities together, we are helping people around the world. And there's nothing more gratifying than that. So thank you.
Thanks, Becca. Bye, everybody.
All right, bye, Pharmacist Ben. And folks, just as a reminder, this program is for informational purposes only on the importance of nutrition. The FDA requires us to let you know that our products are not meant to treat, diagnose, cure any condition. And we are not here to take the place of your primary care physician. But folks, you are an empowered individual. Take that empowerment serious and be intentional when it comes to what you put in your mouth and what you don't put in your mouth, because what you put in your mouth can either damage or rebuild, create or destroy. It's your choice. So what is your choice? Get back with the person that shared this program with you. If there is nobody to thank, we do have a call team standing by at 855-949-3377. We also have our website at DailywithDoc.com. Use that, contact us. I know there were so many questions that we did not get to, so many names of people that I've not seen on any of our streams today. So I am so glad that we're reaching a whole new crowd. We want to make sure that we're meeting you where you're at and that you're getting the answers that you are seeking for. So please go to that DailywithDoc.com sign up letter. With that sign up, there is a place where you can submit your questions. I'll make sure that it gets to one of our certified health coaches and get the answer based on Dr. Wallach's recommendations to you on how you yourself can take better control of your health, folks. So thank you once again. That call team number again is 855-949-3377. My name is Becca Dukes, and as the Director of Student Services for the Institute of Holistic Health, we invite you to even dig deeper into the 4 areas of health, how they're affected by nutrition, and the solution you yourself can take to correct those deficiencies. Go to coachwithbecca.com and you'll find more information about our certified holistic health coach course that's available to anybody. Even if you want it for just your own personal knowledge, that's fantastic because it starts with us. And then as you are encountering people within your family, within your community, and together, as we're reaching our communities, like I said, we're reaching around the world. So until next time, bye for now. Oh, and I want to say thank you to my coaches. because they did a fantastic job. Marilyn, with all of the information she was putting in the chat, that is one of the biggest advantages of being live with us on our Zooms, is being able to see her dictation and how she takes the information that's being shared and puts it in the chat. We have Coach Rod that's out there helping with all of the different platforms, and also a backup to AJ, who is making sure the streams are going strong, who is a backup to Ruth Ellen, who wasn't able to be here with us today, but boy, you guys kept them busy. So thank you so much for doing that. They've got to earn their keep, right? I love you guys. Bye for now.